prescription. So, you know, what the idea with astrology is you want to take these symbols and kind of contemplate them. And retrograde planets are really about someone needing a little bit of help, a little bit of tender, loving care. When planets are retrograde, you feel like things are more confusing. Conversely, you also become more insightful because you're more sensitive. So it's a push-pull. So any kind of a happy pill that you can take, in whatever manifestation that comes, whether it's a new hat or a new car, or, well, preferably not a new car with Mercury retrograde, but...
Wait. What? I just got one. Is that good or bad?
Mike, when did you buy it?
2 weeks ago. Uh-oh. It was either that or walk to work. I don't know which is worse.
Did your car break down? Is that why you had to get a new one?
No, it's just because I've got 5 drivers and 3 cars. You'd be surprised what happens when they fight.
Yeah.
Well, now, keep talking to me. You mentioned this. I just want to know what's going to happen now.
Well, the thing about Mercury retrograde and new machinery is that it tends to play tricks on you all the time. So it might need more help than a car that you didn't buy during Mercury retrograde.
When is Mercury?
It was finished yesterday. Mercury went direct yesterday. It started 3 weeks ago. Mercury
Does this mean
retrograde.
the car's going to die on me?
No. I mean, actually, you in your chart, there's not.
I must tell you that when Mary Michele walked in this morning, she presents me with 2 pages. And obviously, this woman, one day I said I was born on July 5th. I gave her the year, which is 50 years ago.
Life begins at 50.
That's right.
50 is nifty.
I like that. But, you know, 6:04 in the morning, I was born in Danbury, Connecticut, at Danbury Hospital, the old Danbury Hospital, which is still there, I'm told. Actually, it is, because I've seen it. And you came in and you prepared my chart for me, and I didn't know. First of all, I didn't know this was happening. Second of all, I would not know how to interpret it. So for those of you who were born on July 5th, 1945, there has to be at least one other of us out there. And if you were born at 6:04 in the morning and you happen to be in Danbury Hospital, we probably had the same, cribs right next to each other. Mary Michele, would you be, when somebody goes for a reading and they want to have their charts done, you go through a rather... I don't know what the right... It is a very studious study of what was going on then, what's going on now. Do I want to know?
Of course you want to know. And the nature of astrology is, it's kind of like learning to ride a bicycle or learning to do what you do. It's something that you have to study it, and you have to get all the facts, and then you have to let it go. You have to trust that your insight, intuition, and general belief in the process is going to enable the person that comes to you to see his or her self, ego, self, soul, spirit, more clearly. It's not so much about the fact that you necessarily say to them how they're going to change their life. No, you tell them how, but you don't tell them exactly when or that kind of thing, because we have free will, and I believe that you can do it for yourself if you know yourself. If you don't know yourself, then it's more difficult because fate will step in and make it happen for you. Okay. So anyway, we're going to have a look at Mike's chart.
This is what can we wait for 1 minute, because I have a piece of business to take care of, which will allow us to come back and turn the electricity on. We'll be back with Mary Michele in 1 minute.
Obviously, any place that can help a million kids must be doing something right.
Meet Ginger Galloway, a Sylvan instructor.
The first thing we give them is self-esteem and confidence. Actually, one student that I remember came in, and I didn't even know what color eyes she had. Her head was down, and she just felt so terrible about herself. And she came to me one day and said, Ginger, I learned something today. And I said, what did you learn? And she said, I learned I'm okay. And she had beautiful blue eyes. Her head was back, and she's just a different person. We're able to find out really what the real root of the problem is. The diagnostic testing allows us to say, this is what's happening, to know exactly what's going to gain success for that child. We have kids that come into the center with Fs. We have kids that come into the center with Bs. We can help everybody. We allow the child to be the best person that they can be. Every day at Sylvan, we change lives.
I'm Barbara Stern, Director of Mount Kisco's Sylvan Learning Center. Call Sylvan today for summer hours, 666-4116.
At Sylvan, better grades are just the beginning.
And welcome back to Meet the VIPs. Mike Sornoff with you, and our guest is Mary Michele, our resident astrologer. And I guess because I was one she knew, she did my chart. Mary Michele, would you hold it up and show people what it looks like? I hope some people who are watching right now will see. I don't know how to describe it. Maybe you can tell us what's on there, and then tell me what's coming on.
Well, as you can see, it's a picture of a wheel. I don't know if any of you are familiar with mandalas or well, anything really that represents a wheel. Is the idea of it is it has no beginning, it has no end, and I think that our lives, our spirit has no beginning, has no end. So that's what this is kind of representing. But on a very just to show you exactly what it does, it's the horizontal line that gives you the personality and how you work with other people.
Okay, what does it say for me?
For you, it says that you have the sun in Cancer, you have the ascendant in Cancer, you have Saturn in Cancer, and you have the North Node in Cancer. So there are a lot of Cancer factors here.
Yes.
The sun in the 12th house is someone that struggles to be seen in the light. It's someone that has a real push-pull with the idea of, do I want to be seen or do I not want to be seen?
That's so far we're batting 1,000 here. Yeah. Go on.
Saturn on the ascendant. Saturn is the planet of hard work. So you have had Saturn on your personality. You have had to struggle very hard. Did you have to work very hard in school? Were you?
This lady, Jess, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything. You have to work very, very hard for it. But the good thing about that is that when it comes to you, when it comes back to you, the feeling of accomplishment is much greater than someone that didn't have to work so hard.
Okay.
So, there's always a good and bad, as I say. There's always a feeling of... Anyway, Cancer rising, your ascendant Cancer, it means that you are very much someone, like the sun in Cancer, that wants to take care of people or take care of a place or nurture and mother and... it's the sign of the mother, of the earth.
You want to be everybody's friend, basically. You want to be somebody that they can come to, and so far we're batting 1,000. Okay, go on. I'm beginning to believe.
Now, the one thing that would make, what you do, the nature of what you do a little more reasonable or understandable is the planet Mercury, which is the mind, that which rules the mind, is in the sign of Leo. And Leo is the entertainer, the one that wants to be out there and yak, yak, yak in the limelight, and, I'm the king and I know how to do it best. And so it's fun. It's very childlike. It's a lot of fun.
All right, that's very interesting. I'm going to be celebrating my 50th birthday, and last week my wife had a 50th birthday party for me. And, I looked at my friends, and they were more like, I'm a kid. We're still kids at heart. Now, there was one who's a Sagittarian, one who is a Cancer. You're right.
You also have the fifth house, which is the natural house of Leo. There are no planets in it, but
by the way, how many houses are there?
12.
Okay.
12. Anyway, the fifth house, the natural house of Leo, there are no planets there, but it does have the sign of Sagittarius, which, as I recall, your wife is a Sagittarius.
My wife do be a Sagittarian. Right.
So the nature of her sun in your fifth house means that you really do know how to have a very good time together. I mean, there is something very fun-loving about the nature of your relationship.
How true.
Yeah. I don't know. You might like to do some things, not in excess, but you might like to do things like gamble together, take risks together.
We have never gambled in our lives.
No.
Not once.
Do you take risks?
Nope.
No.
I see. Now, maybe this is, my wife will do things that I would never do. She's the one.
You let her do it for you.
No, I don't think but no. I mean, she would be the type who would say, let's go bungee jumping. She wants to go, soaring.
Right.
And the idea of being up there not for me, but she does.
Yeah.
All right, next.
All right. So anyway, the most important house, there are 12 houses, 12 pieces of the pie, right? The most important house in your chart is the 11th house. The 11th house is ruled by the sign of Aquarius. You have the planets Taurus in there, but never mind. It's about the importance in your life of doing something of a good sociological nature. You need to work very much with other people. It's important for you to relate, to interconnect, to feel that you are helping to create the best for the most.
Okay. Is there anything in the chart that says that I also look for, I don't want to use the word support, but every so often a nice little pat on the back, hey, you're doing a good job, this is working out, and, things like that. Is that something that a lot of Cancerians, is that the correct word?
Yes.
Okay. Is that something that I know we are homebodies.
Yes.
But we also like every so often, get that little pat on the back and a little stroke on the head. Well,
it is the sign of security. The need for security, and security lots of times is about being told that you have a nice, cozy, wonderful place to come home to. Mm-hmm. So it is about being patted. It's about being, as much as you will take care of others, you need to be taken care of.
You need to be stroked every so often.
You need to be stroked.
Okay. Tell me more.
Anyway, this 11th house, I think, is very important because it's also, the sign of Aquarius is the sign that rules television and radio. It rules the airwaves, and the glyph for it are two little wavy lines, one on top of the other. Mm-hmm. So it kind of looks like, what happens with radio and television. So all of these planets and the part of fortune, which is where your money is going to come from, are in the 11th house of working in the public through the medium of television and radio to satisfy your need to make money, for one, Taurus, although at times with the Taurus you might not get as much as you want,
You know me. Okay, I'm not going to say anything.
But the moon in Taurus always knows how to get what they need. The moon in Taurus, it's the exalted place for the moon. It's really the most beautiful place. The only drawback to the moon in Taurus is that you are not always allowed to do it for yourself. In other words, people will take care of you. You know how the kings would always have people, around that would, do everything for them. Well, at times that can be frustrating because you like to do it for yourself. Mm-hmm. So the moon in Taurus, your basic needs, there are times that you might feel your daily routines and so on that you would like to have a little more control over it. But the point is that you always get what you need. I mean, the moon in Taurus is a very healthy place.
All right. What about control? I mean, you had mentioned that I would like to have more control, but am I out of control?
No.
Okay.
No. You're not out of control. I mean...
maybe the question is, do other people rule my life for me? Or have I been able to take control of it?
This is a tough question because...
Am I a doer or am I a follower, I guess is the question.
You like to lead.
Good.
Now, there are times that perhaps because you don't get enough of the support that you feel that you should have, that you feel like you're being led.
Uh-huh.
But you are definitely a cardinal sign person. You know, the 4 aspects of the compass are on cardinal signs, and all those planets in Cancer are cardinal. Cardinal is about leadership.
Okay.
So you definitely want to, be in charge. One of the things that you do with the opposition to the ascendant being Cancer, the opposition is Capricorn, you will at times give away authority. You will allow others to take the authority in any kind of partnerships. And, that at times can be a frustration. So what you want to work at is be aware of the fact that you do that, and in different situations feel more comfortable about taking the authority back for yourself, and at other times when it's necessary to let other people have it.
It's very interesting because I'm becoming a believer as we're talking here. When I worked at Citicorp, we used to go through management evaluation, not by other management, but by staff members. And it's very interesting how some of the people were saying that I like to share. I would not ask anybody to do anything I was not able to do myself. That was cardinal with me. If I had somebody who had to handle an account, fine, I would know how to do it also, and I would do this. But I tried to spread around the. I don't want to say, the goodies, but that's exactly probably what it was. And there were sometimes I didn't want to take responsibility. So it's a question of taking responsibility.
With Saturn on the ascendant, you have to take responsibility. Mm-hmm. And you're always going to feel a little less than unless you do that on a regular basis.
Okay. Again, I did not know that you were coming in with this, but when somebody does come to you and says, I would like to have a reading, do my chart and things like that, if they're a parent, do they say, well, what about my children? How do I react with them? Is that in there in any way? I'm curious.
Yes, you're probably extremely egalitarian with your children. You want everything to be equal.
Ooh, this lady knows me. This is why we got the other card.
And the thing about that is that sometimes life isn't fair. So, that can tear you apart. That might be the difficulties that you have with your children from time to time. But, there is going to be one that, does better at certain times and another one that does better at other times and so on. So, it's not always going to fit into a nice equal opportunity little box.
Oh. That's life. Next. What else can a chart tell somebody then?
Well, you can talk about the transits. You can talk about the fact that the transits, the planets, how they're moving now.
Okay.
Right. So this is where the prediction aspect comes from with astrology. But as I said, I like to work with prediction in the idea of working with the past so that you can say about the future that you have some free will about it. You have your ascendant descendant is exactly conjunct this Uranus-Neptune conjunction that I was talking about a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So in the area of partnerships, both emotional, business, or whatever, from about 1987 through about 92.
Yeah.
There was a complete reformulation of the way that you worked in partnerships. You might have actually felt it physically as well. There might have been some breakdown in the body structure.
I got Lyme disease. Well, I had Lyme disease in 82, but they didn't discover it till 87 or 88.
Well,
I was flat on my back for about 3
and
months.
it affected your bones?
Of course it does.
Yeah, right. Well, the point is that this aspect is about structure. It's about Capricorn, and the body. What holds the body up are the bones. Mm-hmm. So that would be this would make astrology make sense. And also, what holds the body together is the skin. So it's also about a breakdown.
Here I am with psoriasis. Got worse within the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, come on.
But you're rebuilding now. When the Uranus-Neptune conjunction happened, which was, I think it was a year and a half ago. I have to look it up to know exactly. But anyway, about a year and a half ago. And for the next 5 years, you're rebuilding now. So it came to a head. The pimple burst at the Uranus-Neptune conjunction, which was in August of 93. So when that happened, you know, it
You know, the
peaked.
timing is perfect so far.
Yeah.
Because I had another real bad bout with Lyme disease then.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
So anyway, it's about your restructuring of, you know, the physical manifestation that come from the emotional and partnership issues, because that is where the underpinnings of this came from. The reasons for the difficulties with the physical structure of the body for this, I mean, not totally, I don't believe totally, but partially, are from these reworking relationships.
Okay. Now, what about the future?
Well, as I say, you're starting to make it work better now for you, and so on. Certainly during the month of July, right after your birth.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Right after
the
your
microphone's
birthday.
underneath there, and
Right.
we don't want to scare too many people.
Sorry. Right after your birthday, things will start to come with more ease. You will start to be structuring it even more, you know, during the month of July, and then again in the month of September. September is a very good month. It's a good month for communication if you're thinking about writing something. Even if it's just a newsletter or something, you know, memos or anything like that. Any kind of communication, talking, writing, short journeys. You'll have a lot of, you'll be wanting to do a lot of that in September.
All right. This is a rather comprehensive. It's not like, well, here it is, and go read it in the daily newspaper, because, you know, the next day you read, is this what really happened to me? But so far you've been batting almost 1,000 here.
Well,
particularly with the time frames, and you did not know about that.
yeah.
So I'm very pleased with this. Is there anything I have to look out for? I mean, if we're going to get the good, let's get the bad too.
During the month of November, you want to try to not pick any fights with your children.
Yes. All right, what would happen if I did?
Well, two things could happen. Either you could be too angry at them unnecessarily, and you would feel guilty about it afterwards, or you would hold the anger back and not get mad at them when you should have.
I gotcha.
So it's one or the other, but, you know, yeah.
Okay.
That's a time when you want to be aware of issues around
November. Okay. Anything else I should be concerned about? Say it.
Nothing's coming to mind, actually.
Oh, good.
You know, I mean,
then that's
yeah.
enough. That's enough. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Whenever you want to do anything with your work, you have to take the initiative. Okay?
Isn't that the way with everybody?
No.
Though? I mean,
no. Some people, they don't have to be quite as aggressive about being assertive and going ahead and making it happen and so on. You need to do that. Not everybody needs to do that.
Okay.
But you should always do it with the idea of beauty behind it, with the idea of the senses, the five senses, either things that, you know, either if you want to get somebody to do something, write them a beautiful letter, or, you know, give them a present, or sing them a song, or something
You
that
haven't
has...
heard me sing recently, then.
Well, you have a very nice voice, so...
Not for singing.
Well, anyway.
Okay. That's about it for me, I hope. Good.
Okay.
Got through that one. I would wonder, when people come to you, are they worried that you're going to find something that says, well, you've got about 37 hours to live? You know, something like that. That must, when you look at the chart...
I would never, I mean, it's something that I would never look for. So it's not something that I would ever see. And also when people come to see me, I will say things lots of times that have no meaning to me at all. And I just, for some reason, as I said, you know, in the beginning, I study and I take all these facts and so on, and then I have to let it go, and I have to trust that what I am saying to that person is something that they will hear. It may not mean at all the same thing to me.
Okay. Interesting. Mary Michele is our guest on Meet the VIPs at 241-1310. If you have a question, I think we're going to get to a couple of people who have called in. We said, hold on for a few seconds. If you have a question for Mary Michele, 241-1310, number to call. I'm Mike Sonoff. This is Meet the VIPs. We will take your phone calls now. What we need from you is your first name, your date of birth, including the year. Yes, I know, and I've admitted I'm old enough to probably... Anyway, 241-1310, give us a call. We'll be back right after these words.
You'll save every day up to 70% off on famous brand names at the Manufacturer's Outlet Center in Mt Kisco.
Okay, I picked up your favorite jeans, 2 pair. Dress shoes for you for work, 50% off today. And look, running shoes for you, heels for me. And picked up a new handbag, save 70% on cookware.
The Manufacturers Outlet Center in Mt Kisco, Westchester's only true outlet center with name brand manufacturers' latest products at low factory-to-you prices. You can save 30 to 70% every day.
I can't believe how much you bought.
I can't believe how much I saved.
Open Monday through Saturday, 10 till 9, and Sunday noon till 6. Take Sawmill Parkway to exit 37 or I-684 to exit 4.
The Manufacturer's Outlet Center in Mt Kisco.
And you can visit any store at the Manufacturers Outlet Center and register to win a $500 shopping spree. Welcome back to Meet the VIPs. I'm Mike Sonoff. Our guest is Mary Michele, and on the phone with us right now is Sue from Katona. Date of birth is August 14th, 1948. Good morning, Sue.
Good morning, Sue.
Hi.
Hi. Was there a particular question you had?
Yes. My husband and I have the same day, but we're 5 years apart.
Oh.
He's older than she is.
All right. So what is his year of birth?
43.
43. Sorry. Was there something in particular that you wanted to know about the fact that you were born the same day? And
Right. The comparisons or differences, things like that. I seem to know, but I was wondering if it's astrologically the same.
his moon is in the sign of Aquarius. So he needs to be of service. He needs to deal with the common good. He needs social services, working with people, organizing groups. This is part of his internal unconscious need. For you, it is August 14th. Your moon is in the sign of Sagittarius. So the two of them work very well together because it's almost like you would inspire him to go out and find the different kinds of groups that he might work with and get involved with. And you would go along. You probably wouldn't organize it, but you would, speak with people. Does any of this make any sense?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see now. What else could I say? You have Mercury in Leo. You probably like a certain amount of pageantry and
I happen to know who this woman is. So
color.
I'm enjoying this conversation. I hope you don't mind, Sue.
No.
Excuse me. You have Venus in Cancer. So you're a very good mother. Are you a mother?
Yes.
Yeah. Very nurturing, and you probably give your children a lot of sense of beauty with the mothering. You maybe teach them how to, draw or paint or make clothes or something like that. You're not a terribly good fighter. Mars and Libra, you tend to see the other person's point of view too much. So you need to get better instead of giving it away. Fight for yourself. Don't let someone else fight for you.
What do you see in the future?
Okay, well, you have to give me an indication. Is there something in particular that you...
Probably in the sense of career-wise or something like that, or children.
Career-wise, the fall is very good for making money. Do you make money? Are you involved in making money?
Yes.
The fall is very good. It's a 12-year cycle. If you want to look back and see where you were 12 years ago, Jupiter in Sagittarius. You were born with Jupiter in Sagittarius. That's where it is now. It's in its own sign. It's expansive. If you want to grow, if you want to start something new with your business, it's a good time.
Okay, Sue?
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. What about her husband? Just for curiosity's sake, he was 5 years before. I'd be curious to know what his future holds. Let's talk about his career.
It's a little hard to, without seeing the whole chart, the whole picture, it's a little hard to really talk about this. But, again, he has Jupiter in the sign of Leo, so it's trining the Jupiter in Sagittarius, so it's a good time for him. He probably would not want to expand as much, but he definitely would want to create something new in the fall.
Okay.
Start a new something.